Hey everybody, you're listening to What Are You Doing in Denmark, the podcast that helps you make Denmark make sense. My name is Derek Hartman, and we're about to talk to you about the news in Denmark this week with an illustrious panel of guests.
Yes, my name's Annie Samples, and I'm honored to be joined by some Danish internet icons today.
Yes.
My name is Brooke Black. I am also honored to be joined by some internet icons, not to copy you completely, but glad to be here.
I'm Steven Feraru, and this is the first time I'm here, and I'm very excited to be here.
I'm Conrad Molden, and it's nice to be amongst the icons.
Like the Mount Rushmore of laughing along with
Chisel
Denmark.
us into the mountains of Denmark. Yeah.
The Himmelbjerg.
Carved in the Himmelbjerg.
We're taking it over. Well, Stephen, as the first time that you're joining us at the table, we thought we would have a little fun and get to know you a bit.
Yeah.
So we've each got a question so that not only we'll get to know you a bit more, but also our listeners.
All right.
What was your first concert?
My first concert. Yeah, I know that.
I hope you do.
As an audience or as someone on stage.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's two very different answers.
Jantelown. Yeah.
I was in my mom, not forced, but I went to choir. I was in a choir when I was a kid, from when I was 5 to when my voice took a notch up.
Yeah.
All right, so I've been to loads of concerts and I did solos, and then I've seen videos of it. It was terrible, but my mom is she was blinded by her love for me, and I think she said it sounded all right. Which she still does choir.
Wow. We are learning a lot.
Yeah.
And what about the first music act that you saw on stage?
That was at a Christian festival. There is like festival like the same, outside in tent. Classic setup, but it's really big. It's called O Festival, and it was this heavy metal group flown in from, I think, the U.S. actually.
Yeah. Which
really
one?
big Christian heavy metal group. I don't
I might
remember
know
the
them.
name,
It was a
I
POD,
don't
not
remember
that they're
the
really
name.
heavy metal, but...
but it was like Christian heavy metal, like really Christian and
really Christian, not
Really Christian.
anti-Christ.
yeah. That was
Do you have a question?
Where are you originally from?
the West Coast. My dad is Romanian, my mom is Danish, and we lived in Poland when we talked about getting citizenship and about how that can take some time. So we were in Poland for a little bit first, and then I've lived on the West Coast for many years. Thyholm, up in the
Oh wow, gorgeous!
up in the glue canal. You know,
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, I'm like,
Limfjord.
oh wow, okay, but I don't know.
Limfjord.
the water that goes
Limfjord,
through, like
yeah.
at the top, there's like this long body of water.
Wait,
Yeah.
not the Limfjord.
Yeah.
So have you gone oyster safaring?
Not there.
Could be one of my many questions.
I know.
Yeah, not there. We find sea urchins a lot.
Oh.
Petrified sea urchins. I think I have 1,500. Like
What?
I've loads.
Not ones
Where
that
do
you
keep
eat though.
those?
No.
Yeah, so like you said they're petrified. Is that?
I
what
don't
you
know what like they're fossilized.
said? Yeah,
Yeah,
fossilized.
yeah.
That's cool.
Petrified sounds like
They're
a spell.
very,
They're scared.
Yeah,
I'm petrified of stepping on one.
Yeah, but that is
Harry
a
Potter
more-
spell.
Yeah. Where do you keep them all?
My mom, they were in a big aquarium, and then my mom, she took them out and spread them in in front of our greenhouse.
Do you play pranks and put them on someone's chair before they sit down?
Oh, just a stone. It's just a stone.
Oh, I thought
Okay.
it was
It's
like
fossilized.
Okay. So
right.
Pranks.
That's
Oh,
true.
the wet ones would be.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you have a question?
I do. You can either choose a random fun fact about yourself or an embarrassing memory that you will stop in the middle of the sidewalk because it keeps coming back to you and haunting you.
I remember I'd been out there dating, and I date a little bit. Like, where do I start this? I was gonna get a chlamydia test.
Oh, great.
I'd been out and about dating quite a bit.
Okay, dating.
And I was like, all right, I'm very
Danish.
I'm very Danish, and I feel like, I am very Danish. I'm also very relaxed about my sex life, so it's so totally normal just to go get a chlamydia test.
Yeah.
And I just got a new doctor, and I feel like this is totally normal.
Well, you
I'm
can
gonna be
even
super
go
chill.
get one at the checkout line.
Yeah, it's super chill, and that's why I went
Yeah.
super chill to the super chill doctor, who was also super chill. And I opened the door, and there's of course the lady in the reception, and I tell her like, "Yo, man, the super chill woman, yeah, man, I'm just. Do you know how to? I just needed to get a time. I just need to get a quick test, chlamydia, just been dating a little bit." She's like, yeah, I mean, the doctor's probably gonna come back. And I said, yeah, but I'm just gonna register here, right? And then they'll come and do the test. And it's like, yeah, just wait a little bit. I think then he'll come. And she was standing there in her brown shirt, being really nice about it. And I look over and there's this lady walking towards her with a blue and white shirt. And I thought, you don't work here, do you? It's like, no.
You gave her the whole rundown.
But I gave her the whole rundown. Yeah, I've been dating a little bit, and then I just want to get it checked. It's not itchy or anything, but it's like, I don't feel it, but I feel like now would be the time. And she was like, yeah. She's going to come in a second. And I just didn't get...
But no,
I just didn't get it.
That's very sweet, actually.
That was a little embarrassing.
Yeah, but that's a great story,
Chlamydia is not itchy, though.
It's not?
No, it's gonorrhea.
Okay.
But I'm glad you're taking the responsibility, and I'm sorry that happened to you. But
she
that's
didn't
a
tell
very
me
good
that.
story.
She just kept telling me,
No, they're gonna come out.
They're gonna come out. I'm just here because of my knee. And
Oh my God!
Cut to Brigitte telling this same story on a different podcast. About the time a guy came
one
in.
guy, he kept talking about his genitals. I was like, I don't want to hear about your sex life,
About
dude.
his genitals.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
That's
so
amazing.
in the same vein though, what is your guilty pleasure from Netto?
That would be Velo, like Lyft. Like,
That is a guilty
snap.
pleasure.
That is
Okay.
very much a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. So what's the appeal of that versus smoking a cigarette or Conrad's favorite, the flavored vape?
I don't.
The flavor.
Yeah, the flavor. Do you vape?
I don't.
He loves to
I don't,
vape.
only in Glostrup.
He likes making fun of me.
No way.
You have to get in. There's a barrier.
Yeah.
And you have to blow pineapple
They're
smoke
like,
into a machine, and then the gates open.
Oh
That's
man,
beautiful.
I only have strawberry cheesecake.
Oh, wow.
No, I like Velo because you can do it inside and you can do it while you're on a podcast, and it's not. I feel like
Are you
it's
doing it
less-
right now?
No, I don't have it. Right now.
He's fiending.
I just love it.
Does it provide
And
like
it's
a
way
relaxed
stronger.
feeling? Is it
Yeah, it's
stronger?
way stronger than
I feel like it'd make me
It's
throw up
very
and pass
strong.
out.
My coworker, I hope he doesn't listen to this, but he keeps it at the office because he hides it from his wife that he does it.
Oh.
And he's like, "You want some? You want some?" And I'm like, "No, I never want
Cut
it." But
it
it's
in
like
half.
it's on tables like all over the office all the
Is
time.
it?
Yeah,
Gosh.
it's like such a huge
It's
popular
such a
thing.
work core. I don't know,
Work core?
like a workspace core.
Yeah, office siren.
Office core.
Like starter pack.
Yeah.
Office
It is.
core.
Though. And now, like smoking a cigarette is like sucking on a straw.
Ew.
It doesn't do anything for
It's
me.
weakened you.
Yeah, very much. It's like this is so boring.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The doing it at work thing, I hope my husband doesn't listen to this or his parents. He doesn't smoke, and I once had to find I was looking for a phone charger. He's like, "Oh, there's one in my backpack." So I went in and I found a pack of cigarettes.
That was yours, or?
It was his, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" I mean, I felt like completely betrayed.
Yeah.
It was like
It's not so much a judgment of the action,
don't
but
even
like
know
if you
you.
surprise find that, you're like, hello?
Right.
Yeah.
So what else don't I know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was
exactly.
very-
Was he grounded, or what happened?
Yeah,
next?
yeah.
I honestly felt like
You
that.
smoke all of these.
Yeah. Smoke all these with a
In a
cardboard
cupboard,
box over
yeah.
your head. Yeah. I was furious. So bad.
Wait, so what
happened?
were they his?
Well, we're still together. That's
Oh,
fine.
thank
Yeah.
God. But they were his?
They were his, yeah.
Wow.
He was like, fine, I do it sometimes, like, when I'm really stressed and it's the high
That's so
season. And
funny.
yeah.
I can relate. I get
I
it.
just,
no judgment here.
I was like, who is this person?
My mom caught me when I was 15. Like I was smoking in the backyard with my friends, and
literally same story.
Like there was like a big bay window, and she looked down, and I like dropped the cigarette.
Yeah.
And then a few years ago, I caught her smoking.
No.
Yeah.
I was
See?
like, "Mother, like, what are you doing?"
You're grounded.
It was like
See,
a role
That's the
reversal.
thing. Like, don't judge
But it
until
is,
you've been in that
we all go
situation,
through
Mom.
seasons of, I guess, tobacco use. But not all of us, maybe.
Well,
Hopefully, some are spared.
Outrage.
listen, I think humans were actually designed to smoke. I think about that a lot. Do you think? I mean, think about from like the beginning of time. Like people have been smoking, and now all of a sudden
Yeah.
we're supposed to not. I don't smoke.
Now we're
but, like,
supposed to not.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like
almost
that's
like
a
we've
rough
learned something.
transition. Yeah.
It's like, well, if I wasn't supposed to smoke, why do I have fingers and lungs? I mean, you did this to me.
Yeah,
I
why
was
should I wash
designed
my
this
hands
way.
after I use the toilet?
That's disgusting.
What is this,
honestly.
science?
Yeah, forget it. So I don't know. What's the resolution there? Anyway, that's not what this episode is about.
Oh, right, the
this
news.
episode is about the news.
Remember the news? Wow.
What about the news? I try not to watch it.
Last week, the King of the Netherlands was on a working visit to Denmark.
cute.
I read that headline and I thought it said he's on a working visa to Denmark.
Things aren't going great in the Netherlands.
It's like,
Approved.
He's working for Volt with his crown riding around.
just
But
like,
aren't you the king of the Netherlands?
yeah,
Here's your
but,
burritos. I've got to go.
yeah.
it's like, yeah, 5 stars, please. I need to get to my next delivery. Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, first, I don't think he needs a visa. And what's he doing? But yeah, he's just hanging out with his, I think, distant cousin for like
oh,
the
really?
10th, right? I'm pretty sure that, no, maybe they're
I think
not.
they're all related,
Yeah,
right?
I think
It's
they
weird.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the guy?
Yeah, so
wanna see him.
King Willem Alexander of the Netherlands. Yeah, so
He looks like someone who could be in a Netflix series about a king, right? He looks casted. He looks casted for the role.
Yeah.
Does he really have a crown?
No.
not.
Surely he does.
He's not
Yeah,
photographed
somewhere. Probably, but I'm just...
No.
in this
he
photo.
just looks like a minister.
He really does just look like
He
politician.
looks just like a guy. He's just a guy. But good
just
for
like
him.
a
I'm
guy.
glad. Did he enjoy himself here?
I guess so. They went
Cycling.
They did go cycling. They did.
What?
They
No
did.
way.
They did. Oh no! You know what they did? No, they didn't cycle. That I know of. They did a canal tour.
Oh.
They did a boat ride around
What
the
the
canals.
fuck? You're
from
Dutch
Newhound.
and you go here to ride bicycle and be in a canal.
And be in a
yeah.
canal.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Oh.
Like,
What are
you
they
haven't
going
had
to do?
enough
Explore
of
the
that?
mountains? Or?
No, it's just like the 2 most Dutch things. What are you gonna do? Oh, we went to Christiania, smoked weed, and then we went home and watched porn. Oh, look at the
shoes.
thing.
Is
Yeah,
Is that
look
what
at the-
people should do when they visit Copenhagen?
No, it's just like the 4 things that the Netherlands and Denmark have in common. Like,
He's like, well, it's a bit hilly here,
Yeah.
but
Oh my god.
I think the canals are nice.
yeah.
Yeah, so he basically came here to visit and did all the things that he could do at home,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad he felt comfortable.
Yeah.
That's nice.
and then he left to go to Norway. So I guess it's a very
Haven't been.
very
That'll be a
standard
shocker.
visit.
To see his other
To
cousins.
see his other cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think any of them are wearing crowns. Yeah,
Good for them. What do you think they were working on though?
what could they do?
I think it has the objective of strengthening the cooperation between the Netherlands, Denmark, and Norway in the areas of hydrogen and energy systems of the future.
That's true.
Wow,
Can the
thanks.
supercomputer also help with that?
Oh yes, that is
In the title,
true.
Derek.
With
the article that you read.
I did read more than the headline, but I forgot.
Yeah.
I-
I like the way you really dismiss it. Oh, what are they up to?
I
Oh,
don't-
it's new hydrogen. What are you even doing here, King? Where's your crown? Get on a bike. I'm here about energy policy.
Fair.
Please move out
Fair.
the way.
Fair.
Yeah.
Please move out of the way.
Please stop unlocking my canal tour.
He stopped in, did a canal tour, left, and I don't really know a lot about
He ate
hydrogen.
pickled herring,
Yeah, he ate pickled herring, I'm sure.
spoke an incoherent language, and left.
He could have done all those things at home.
That language is so weird, actually.
Dutch or Danish?
Dutch.
Oh, okay.
Weirder than Danish to me, person. What do you think? Like,
I
Yeah,
think
you-
Dutch is
Steven?
more weird. No, I actually think
do you like it or do you hate it?
the Dutch language. I love the Dutch language.
Do you speak Dutch?
good.
You do, right?
Persoonlijkheid.
I could say
Persoonlijkheid is
totsiens.
Dutch. Totsiens.
Totsiens.
Gezellig, that kind of thing.
Gezelligheid.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
wow.
They
I
have
see.
hyggelig as well. They have hyggelig.
do have
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
gezellig.
it's like
There's a like.
gezelligheid. I think it's like that. But
We do have a Dutch audience, but did you know
Do
there's
we?
one European country that we have never been downloaded in?
What's that?
Moldova.
Croatia?
Nope.
Macedonia?
Belarus.
Oh.
So do you know any Belarusian?
Belarusian. No,
Is,
no, I don't know any.
They just speak Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Belarusian.
We need to find some ways to attract the audience in Minsk.
Do you know how to say Belarus in Denmark in Danish?
It's,
No.
Beautiful
it's
Russia.
basically just White Russian, right?
Belarus is-
White Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just
White Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vil what?
Hviderusland.
Vil
White
Rusland.
Russia. I think that's so funny.
That is
Well,
really
the name
funny.
of it was meant to be like beautiful Russia, right? Like I think I like
Belarus.
yeah. But I know.
Why are they Italian?
Well, it's
More
a
on that in
Belarus.
another episode.
Oregano, I'm a Belarus.
The etymology of Belarus. We need some listeners there.
Okay.
Yeah. But nobody can help us. It doesn't matter. We're not losing them. We're not gaining them.
Okay, we can
So we
drag
can say
them
whatever we
all
want
we
about them. Yeah, drag them.
Okay, news though.
Yeah.
News.
Talking of news, did you know that Skattestyrelsen, the Danish tax ministry, has released a preemptive årsopgørelse already? So you can already log in and get a guesstimation of how much scat you will or won't pay or receive.
Yeah, I love-hate relationship there.
And it really confuses me, this system, because every year I feel like it's literally a lottery. Like you log in and you're like, either I'm going on summer vacation or it's rye bread for dinner every day.
Shoot.
Like, these are the two.
Especially when you're like not employed by an office. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm like Always guessing. Yeah.
It's brutal. And
It
then there's
is.
also this whole system where it's like, oh, but this is on your A court, and then there's your B court, and
Right.
your GUL court, and your RUL court, and then didn't you and it's like, dude, just tell me what I need to
Yeah,
do. Like,
I'll
do I
give you
pay?
my money, I guess, gladly. Yes, gladly, it's fine. But like, there's just so many different vehicles and avenues for
Interlocking.
paying these taxes.
And then they say, oh, can you please guesstimate how much money you'll earn next year, and then we'll tax you back. You do that. That's your job. You're the skat people.
Exactly.
That's
Hello?
your
You're the
job.
skat man. Sorry.
Here on my-
How many people make that joke?
I think that's the first one. I think it's the first time I've heard that.
I like it. Well,
I feel like it's something you could. Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
definitely
your
a
new
bit
jingle.
though. There's,
Yeah.
The fact that you're not employed.
Me?
No, the fact that you're not employed makes it harder to do tax. That's what.
Oh, self-employed. You're not employed. And he's like, I'm
Don't
very
touch a
employed.
nerve.
No way.
A little too employed.
The fact that you're not
actually.
employed.
This
Yeah.
coming from
You
someone
don't
from
contribute.
Vestjuland.
Is that the word? Do you say not? Do you still say
Unemployed?
you're
It's-
employed if you're self-employed?
Self-employed.
Yeah,
Self-employed.
self-employed. What would you say in Danish?
You would say
Poor.
that you're selvstændig. You're
Oh, self-standing, like independent.
Ah.
Self-standing. That's cute. Okay, so yeah, you feel good, bad about it?
About the release. I think it's good, but then you're going to log in and just going to terrify yourself already before March.
That's stressful.
I heard there was something where people were expecting to get more back this year.
Some tax movement thing where you should hopefully
You should
receive
get more
but
back.
I always feel like they absolutely screw me.
I agree.
It's
I-
always a bulldog. And then you have to ring them, and you're in the queue for 2 hours, and then you get through to somebody called Brigida, and it's like the
What?
mafia.
It's the second
employed
Brigida to
like
come
a
up in this call.
It's always
It
Brigida.
always
Brigida
does.
is always.
It's honestly like if the mafia had a Brigida department. She's like, oh, very nice to hear from you. Yes, very, very lovely. Yeah, you need to pay. You need to pay.
Yeah.
It's all terrifying.
And you have chlamydia.
I get
And you have chlamydia.
and it burns and it shouldn't.
It is. God. Chlamydia is like the silent one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never had it.
Although it might just be silent for women. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. We've never had it.
Yeah, we've never had it, but it can really mess up your fertility. So if you are a woman who is sexually active, please go to
Yeah,
the
be
doctor.
responsible. Like
Steven's
Steven,
doctor.
Go to
Yeah,
Steven's
and
doctor.
just make sure you know that.
Because that can mess
People
you
I
up
talk
for life.
to are usually
okay?
on the other side of the register, or like the.
Yeah. Wait
therapy,
until an
some
appointed medical
They are.
professional says hi to you. Okay, but news. Yeah. What
Yeah.
else?
First time I did it, actually, more chlamydia stories. The previous doctor, the
news.
reason
Yay.
why I changed, I went in there, and that was one where you could just you could hand in a sample. You didn't even have to like book a
Oh,
consultation. And I went in there, did the thing, found the cup somewhere in the bathroom, and I put it on the register. And they called me 15 minutes after, and they say, "You can tell us that you put a cup of pee on the registers, just so we don't." So just so we're not surprised.
You just surprised
Yo.
I didn't.
No,
Did you
I
write
thought,
your information on
I
the cup?
thought it was like, okay, you put it there and then they get it. I beeped in my thing and then I thought they linked it up like that.
Oh my
But they
God.
just came into their office and it was closed. They just came back.
But wait, your name wasn't on it?
No, because there's like the screen and you register there. And I thought
Right,
they
right.
linked it up like
Like,
that.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
these are things that I think like when I come into a world of national health care and I assume that everything is just works like that. Like
Yeah.
moving commune, of course they talk to each other. So like when I move, my records will automatically move. Not the case. Like you have to call and the same with like if I just want to leave unattended unmarked pee, like why
Yeah.
won't they automatically know it's
Oh,
mine?
I feel like that.
they have all the
do
rest of
that,
my
though.
info.
It's so true.
Well, the
It's
thing
so
I
true.
don't. I'm assuming that it's the same here. If you
Oh.
if you've peed within like that
2
morning,
hours.
like 2 hours, okay,
3 hours.
then you have to get a swab.
No. They
the pee
they
hole?
don't do that anymore.
Oh, okay. I'm a little
That's
bit.
for a while.
I'm a little bit
happened.
older.
They got rid of it
you know.
last year.
Oh,
But
God.
in my day,
God,
There's this very famous. There are very famous skits about it where they come in with like the really big Q-tip instead, and they don't do it
Jeez.
anymore.
Oh,
You
thank
just
God.
they just send you back, and then
look, and no matter what, that's what it feels like. Those very big Q-tips. Yeah, it's
Oh
not.
my
a fun
God.
thing, yeah.
I've got some news.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So there is in Folketinget in Christianborg, there is in the conversation room there is a giant painting of a bunch of it was about the amendment for women to be able to vote, and it's a bunch of people signing this thing. The problem with the painting is that it's a room full of men and there's no women in the painting. It's been sitting there since I think 1917. So on Tuesday they revealed across from this painting in the conversation room 30 key women figures in politics that as sort of like a a response to that. So there was kind of an invitation to the women that were still living in that painting to come on Tuesday. So it was people like Helle Thornberg-Schmidt, the first female prime minister of Denmark. I had them all written down. Nina Bang was the first minister, which minister to me, I know there's a lot of ministries here, that minister to me is always a religious thing in the U.S. So I had to understand she was the first female minister of what, I'm not sure, but in 1924. And so, there's 30 women. It took 1 year and 9 months to paint. It's very big. And I thought that was really cool. Helle was also quoted in the press for saying, we've made a lot of progress, but until we're 50% women in politics in Denmark, I'll feel like, we just have a long way to go still. But I thought that was really cool. They also have some Faroese and Greenlandic representation in there. And I believe the first immigrant minister, Ozum something, I can't say her last name.
Özlem Cekic.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I thought that was pretty cool, and also kind of funny that it's like, here we are, like, women get the rights, and there's no women in here. Like
the irony of that.
When did women get the right?
It was 1917, I think.
Also, so cool to get to paint that.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you get like another historic painting? You don't come around that often.
Yeah.
And you paint, and
a lot of them burnt in Børsen.
Oh,
which is very sad.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, also a side piece of news: they've stopped the investigation on the
Okay,
fire.
what did they say? It's
I think
They
they
just said
gave up.
there's no leads, so we can't blame anybody. I was sad about that.
But were they able to rule out that it was criminal?
Yeah, they say it's not suspicious,
Okay.
but they don't know exactly what caused it. But it seems a bit strange to me that they just sort of gave up. You know what I mean? Yeah, like surely keep that case maybe open.
Yeah. All right, interesting. Did you have any news?
I was on the inside of Børsen actually.
No.
After it burned down, to shoot
Really?
a video.
Just leaving
And-
samples of urine?
And I'd say it's hard to tell what happened. Like it's just a big pile of bricks. Like
Wow.
Lucky you're not a lead fire investigator.
It's a big pile of bricks.
I don't know, man.
Honestly, it sounds like you know as much as they do.
Yeah.
I look in there.
There
I
was
don't
a
know.
fire here.
Well,
Did
it's
you
a big
do
pile
it?
of bricks.
No, you didn't.
Where are the dragons right now?
The dragons
But they're somewhere.
survived?
Yeah, I think so. I think like they put it somewhere to like keep it safe.
Oh, thank God. That's so cool.
But I don't know where.
Oh my gosh.
But Steven, do you have news?
Oh yeah.
No, did you do it? Did you do an episode after the presidential election?
Oh.
Did we?
Wait,
no.
no.
I'm
We
just
need
asking.
Danish news. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
We did.
But
We did.
all-
No,
a-
the
It is
reason why
affecting
the
Denmark,
reason
yeah.
why I bring it up is I also watch the news, and I think this is what takes up. We really care about it a lot in Denmark, and we also definitely have a favorite in Denmark. And I think it's so interesting to see the way that Danish people react to it, and maybe also how Europe reacts to it. I think it's very. I don't know. I think I maybe know 2 or 3 Trump supporters in Denmark. Like,
I think we did a.
and he won.
Yeah.
Isn't that so? Well, I mean, I can send you a video on this. I just found this thing last night, fully breaking down how Elon Musk helped Donald Trump win the election. I mean, it's really just. I mean, the facts are all laid out there. So,
Yeah.
that's that. It's. I love how they're like, this one wasn't rigged. The last one was. They only rigged it one time and never again.
No, but you're American. You must get it. You must get it all the time. Where when people meet you, they're like, "All right, pick a color. I want to know. What do you think about Trump?"
Yeah. But I mean, is there
or I'm
anything
ass-
left
I'm
to
assuming.
say?
Danes-
That's what I don't understand.
There
you
have been
know?
some Danes that have said some really aloof things to me. Some have just been like, I'm really sorry. A lot have been like that. But some are like, but I mean, I might be naive, but nothing's really going to change, right? Like, they don't believe it. And people that I respect and look up to, and I'm like, well, and then like, but he's pulling back on Project 2025, things like that. And I'm like, I don't even know where to start with this, but I would just like to move on with my day.
Damn. Ooh.
And it's coming from a place of maybe just, aloofness and not having to deal with that day to day. And also, interestingly, a British friend of mine was like, why can't you talk to your families, Americans? Like, if they're on the other side, why can't you just...
Oh.
And I'm like, don't you think we've been doing that for like 12 years?
Why can't
Where,
you
like,
talk to tables?
Yeah.
It's
let
like
me
there's just a shutting down. Like here, there is open discourse, and if you have a disagreement with politics, like you are not mad at each other for life. You don't shut down. A Danish friend of mine lived in the U.S. for a few years, and that was one of the most surprising things was when he talked politics, the other side just shut down and like was never to like be heard of or seen again. Like they just didn't want to engage with him at all, and he was really surprised by that. And so I think that's surprising to people is that you can't have that conversation. You can't.
No.
And then you have to set your own boundaries, you know?
It feels
Yeah.
very almost like I don't know if this is offensive, but like hysterical because people, like we were talking about before, bring your spirituality and your salvation and like your
Yes,
moral.
they talk about God
you know?
so much, makes
It's
me
so,
insane.
like,
God
hello?
has been so like, what's the word when it's like a word that is like a catalyst
Weaponized.
for... Yeah, weaponized,
Weaponized.
yeah.
100%. And that's just so not what we're doing here,
Yeah.
I feel like. I mean,
At the
not-
cost of what, you know?
exactly. It feels so over emotional and like I guess I've been living in Denmark a long time. I'm like, it looks and feels and sounds, first of all, very over dramatic, and the way that like Americans take all of this discourse so personally. Last week I was on TV2 Cosmopol to discuss how apparently Denmark is trying to position itself as like a safe haven for Americans who want to leave the US after the election results. I made a reel, TikTok, whatever, talking about like what I think would be a good way to help people acclimate to life in Denmark. And I just briefly mentioned that headline, didn't state my opinion on it or anything. I just said, like, this is what Denmark is trying to do. Here's what I think that people could do to help Americans acclimate to life in Denmark. And I mean, the comments are so overdramatic. It's like, I can't believe you're saying this when there's like, I lived in a country like Cuba and like that kind of stuff where I'm like, that's not even A, what I'm talking about, and B, it's so fair and valid if somebody doesn't want to live in a country where there's like no gun legislation, where there's no reproductive rights, you should have the option to go somewhere else, and that's a valid choice. And it doesn't mean you're saying like, oh, I'm like, what is the word? Catastrophizing and persecuted and all of that. It's just like, this isn't what I want for myself. This is what you guys want. Fair. Enjoy it there. This is how I feel. But I'm going to go somewhere where I'm seen as a human being, at least since 1917.
Yeah, I
And
think
that's that.
there has been a lot of like online pushback at people saying that they're going to move as a result of it. I can empathize with that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
In a way, because as somebody who's living here, I know that sounds very privileged, but I just think it was fine before. It wasn't ideal, but in states, it's hard to disagree with the will of the voters.
Right.
You know, so I know it's hard to comprehend. It's hard to wrap our heads around. But in a way, incumbent parties have been wiped out all around the world. This is not unique to the U.S. And he almost lost.
Right.
And so the Democrats did better than the rightward shift in the EU Parliament was not on the same level as it was in the U.S. and other countries like that. So it's disappointing, and it's hard because of our system, first past the post system, that it ends up with him as he should, in my opinion, never have been able to run again after January 6th.
100%.
That was a failing of Republicans in Senate. And the fact that he was nominated without ever debating or any of these things, and I know that on the right they'll say, well, Kamala Harris wasn't in a primary. Whatever. You get to pick you get to pick your candidate however you want to. That's who you picked. I think there were some very decent Republicans that could have been better
100%.
choices. It's disappointing.
100%.
I also sometimes think in the U.S. we get highlighted for different things that are happening elsewhere too. I mean, there's a lot of illiberal democracies in the EU. You don't have to look that far to find EU member states where you can't get an abortion, or I wouldn't necessarily call it Danish-style democracy. And I would like to hear more voices raised about those places too.
Right.
Again, I'm not defending Trump's policies or the things that he has planned, but I think that we should also look around because there's, I know that the United States has a outsized influence, especially in the EU. There's a lot of places where Denmark maybe has more influence than they could in the U.S., where there's closer neighbors and allies and other member nations of the European Union that could have some more influence.
Yeah.
There's quite a few places, there's quite a few things that in Denmark that will be affected by this. Like I was just looking at, if this goes through, then, mortgage rates will, change, or, just so many things that I didn't even think about because this is new territory.
And the geopolitical things.
For me, and
Foreign
all of that,
affairs,
and like climate change, like all of that stuff. So.
And that's another thing that people say to me, like, why would Denmark care about the results of the U.S. election?
Wait,
Hello?
are Americans saying that?
Americans
I
are
don't
saying
think they
people,
realize.
Because
I think they
Americans,
really don't.
they
like,
really think
don't.
that they're the center of the world and they're the
Yeah.
best country in the world and that everything that's happening there is for good.
I feel like I also maybe I have a different For You page, but I see a lot of people critiquing the U.S. and U.S. involvement in foreign wars and things like that. So I sometimes feel like the way that we're trashed online, that does get back to the country, that does get back to the voters in the U.S. And sometimes it's like, what do you want? Do you want us to be isolationist and disengaged? Or is it our responsibility to protect Europe, defend Ukraine, and solve Middle East tensions that have been going on for centuries? Sometimes I'm like, what do you want from us? This is not necessarily my opinion, but I can understand how some of those voters see things online or are influenced by social media and think, you're right, we should be isolationist, and it's not this is not my opinion.
No,
but
I understand.
I try to think of where some of these feelings are coming from.
Yeah.
But the problem is that all we see is online, and when you meet people in the wild, everyone's actually really nice to each other. And I hate that. For years now, I'm surprised when people are nice to me in the U.S., and I hate that is the world we live in.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you think everyone's awful, and you read the headlines and all of that, and then I'm like, oh, thank you. You like, wow. It's like, why do we think so little of ourselves? Sobering. Positive
news.
Any more fun Danish news that we can talk about?
Yeah.
Anything poppin'?
I would say Danish news would be I'm going to start a ranch importing business, ranch dressing importing business. The appeal is there, the interest is there, and
that's great news.
I'm not really, but it would be great news because I have to have friends and family bring over the ranch seasoning powder.
That's your thing that people bring over. My mom brings over a bunch of string cheese, and it's all melty by the time it's like off the plate. But I'm like, I will eat all of this.
Okay, is it
it's
good?
Mozzarella.
It's mozzarella. But why does it not exist in Denmark? How is there no mozzarella here?
There's those other cheese.
No, mozzarella is just something else. It's just string cheese is the long one where you peel it off
that
like
is
that.
the snack.
I don't think we need that though.
You don't think so?
I don't think we need that. I could mention a lot of things that you have over there that would be nice. Ranch, I think we should get ranch.
Don't you think?
I think ranch.
Yeah, I do.
All right, ranch wins over string cheese.
And Doritos have already sort of introduced the flavoring.
Have they?
No, I think it's like that.
Do they call them
Cool Ranch? Oh no, it's called like
I think they're called Cool American or Cool Blue. Not Cool
something.
Blue.
Yeah,
That
like-
sounds very un-Danish.
Cool
I think it's Cool
American.
American.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Get chlamydia
Get
tested.
chlamydia tested. Get all the
Get
tests.
chlamydia.
See
Check
if
your
you have
scat.
PCOS.
Yeah, check your scat.
Move
Check
to
it.
Denmark.
Check out the
Denmark.
conversation room and be inspired by all those rad women in politics and Christianborg.
That's super cool. And buy ranch dressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah.
everybody.
Hi.